So today I'm talking to Raoul and Rob of Shikari for the Huffington Post. How are you?
Very well, thanks. How you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. Now we're in this kind of, what would you call it, business room? What do you call it when they're conference room or something? Meeting room. So I thought we'd get a bit serious just for a few minutes. Yeah. Because
tried to pull it first time. Started grinning instantly. I can't do it. Just can't do it.
Now, you have been labelled, I know you hate this label, but as a political band.
The P word.
Oh, God. Now, is there a label that you would be happy with or that you'd settle with? Because I know you don't want to be labelled because that's not very punk, but people are going to do it, whatever.
It's socially conscious doesn't piss me off.
Yeah.
'Cause I like that as well, because you can then turn it around and say that, well, everything else is socially unconscious music, which is quite cheeky. But I think at the end of the day, there's like two types of music. Music made for profit and music made for the love of music and to want to sort of touch people's lives and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of, I think less and less people are like caring about genres and things like that, so we encourage that, I think.
Because you're into all sorts of music, aren't you, as a band? Like, you're inspired by and listen to everything.
Apart from R&B and opera.
Well, new R&B.
New R&B, modern R&B, yeah.
There's probably one song out there that you might go, oh, that one's all right.
I like quite a bit of opera as well, actually, yeah. I constantly get people surprised by the fact that I'm in a rock band, but I don't have, I think, one rock tune on my my playlist at home. Most of my music is either classical or dance. Yeah. To take that as you will. I don't know what that says about me, but there you go.
You're a good time boy, aren't you? You like to have fun.
So a bit this, bit that.
What's your most played on your playlist at the moment, would you say?
Oh, blimey. I'm listening to a lot of like electronica, Frederick Robinson, John Hopkins, and then a lot of like really old school gritty punk as well. Yeah.
Keeping it varied.
Yeah.
I was painting my bedroom with my girlfriend the other day, and we had my phone with a little mini speaker on. Made my girlfriend laugh so much. Just it would go from one really pretty, delicate classical piece, and then the next would be some sort of dark UK grime kind of song, and it just wouldn't connect at all. But I don't know.
Bit schizophrenic.
Yeah, kind of made my painting all patchy. This part's really dark and like that, and this one's nice and floaty. And
Now, are there any artists out there that you think are sending out good messages or saying something important? Because I know it's quite limited.
There's a lot of great underground hip hop. We always shout out Akala. He's great. And then we're doing a tour in America next year with Stray from the Path and 100th, both sort of quite outspoken bands and doing some great stuff.
Architects and
They're really good.
Yeah. They're my favourite.
There are some out there. I mean, not as many as I think we'd like would be as outspoken as we think they should be, but there are some definitely out there.
In terms of responses to your songs, do you ever get people of power coming back to you, like, say, the Minister of Health? Would he ever come back to you about your latest thing?
Yeah. Apparently John Prescott is a big fan of ours.
Yeah.
Really?
And he's looking forward to the new album.
I love that.
Tweeted us. Yeah. It was the most strange, surreal morning getting a tweet from John Prescott.
Did you tweet back?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Polite and...
Big John.
Yeah, we like that. Us and Big J.
You've got to invite him down to a gig, surely, haven't you? Guest list?
Yeah.
You're watching John.
Yeah.
I could imagine him in the pit, swinging.
He would give it
around. Yeah.
John. Now, how do you feel about people like Russel Brand, being involved in politics and appearing on Newsnight, Question Time, that sort of thing? Are you for that?
I think it's great. There's obviously no one of his stature doing anywhere near what he's doing. I mean, he obviously has that side to him where he can just babble about spiritual wank, and it's just a bit much. But No, I think in general, I think he's great, and it's just getting frustrating because you're getting so many people sort of turning against him because it's easy. You know, you can call him a hypocrite, like it's very easy, but it's not really getting you anywhere. It's not really furthering the general conversation. So that's really annoying. I just think that's really petty. But yeah, no, it's encouraging. That, you know, someone of his stature.
I think he's saying a lot of good things and getting a lot of good press for it. There's a lot of people that have been saying a lot of these things for a long time, but not in the same sort of, in the same mainstream media that attention that he's been getting. So I think it's good that finally someone seems to be shaking up the hornet's nest, or however you want to put it.
And getting it in the press, which is raising awareness to the younger people, so that's all good, isn't it?
Absolutely.
As long as they concentrate on the issues and not him, which is...
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Now, if you were given the power, say I said, tomorrow you're going to be Minister for Culture, Media and Sport, what would you guys do? What would you change? What would you implement?
Culture, media and sport.
Yeah.
Those specific ones.
Yeah, there's a minister that looks after those three things.
I mean, somehow you have to get the huge sort of connect between advertising and media and the biases that produces. You have to break that connection. So that conversation would have to start. Culture, there's definitely a lot that can be put into culture. I mean, like St Albans, everyone thinks of as this quite affluent like town, but it's like, in terms of youth culture, there was nothing for us. Like, we had this one youth club where, for instance, bands used to play, and you could go and skate and do all sorts of, you know, youthful things. And that the council's been, well, they have kind of successfully stunted all growth of that, and that's kind of all we had. And so yeah, there's a lot of obviously funding that can be put into.
I think they always think that kids are doing bad things at these places, like it's a place where drugs are rife or people are drinking instead of concentrating
out onto the streets. They're much safer there.
I watched your Zeitgeist lecture that you gave. Do we call it a lecture or just a speech? I don't know. What's the
talk?
Yeah.
A chin wag? Yeah. I don't know.
You spoke about the social value of music and how it can help people and obviously unites people. But I want to know how you think we can solve the fact that bands are having to split up because there's not enough money in making music. What would you do about that? What can be changed, do you think?
Well, in Scandinavia, there's so much funding that gets put into the arts, and you can earn a living sort of teaching music and going around schools and playing music, and there's loads of art festivals, and we have that to a certain extent, of course. I don't want to belittle what we have, but I guess that can be encouraged.
Final one. If you could ever run to be a member of Parliament or anything like that, would you guys go for it in the future, do you think?
I don't think I could deal with it, no.
I mean, we don't really agree with the current structure, and I don't think, you know, we're going to do anything to change that or get up against the huge amount of funding that the politicians have. So yeah, I think we'd be extremely small fish. Yeah,
it reminds me of the late great Tony Benn, who once said he got out of Parliament to concentrate more on politics. So I think that says quite a lot about it. Yeah.
You talk about the environment and sustainability and that sort of thing. As a band, what do you do to ensure you're being conscious about that?
It goes from like the really small things, like making sure we don't use like. Oh, this is always such a boring question. I'm going to rabble on now, but like, you know, plastic water bottles, like cutting down plastic, cutting down your waste, making sure you recycle on tour. Because, you know, we tour a big crew. There's a lot of food and, supplies that are done. So you try and source everything as well as you can. You try and source organic food. Where we can, we use, in America, for instance, we've often used green vans. Like, so they run on like, oil, like chip oil, fat and things like that, which is really interesting. But there's only so much you can do. We still have to fly. Everyone is a hypocrite if they want to stay alive, if they want to make money to a certain extent. Like, So yeah, it's tough, but you do what you can. And I still think the main thing is awareness. The main thing is fighting against the climate deniers and making sure that people just concentrate on the science and stop the conversation when there isn't any, and just keep the pressure on those who are making the policies. I think that's just the most important thing, just to keep shouting out. There's no point in when people concentrate on the get better light bulbs and don't use as much hot water and all this kind of these sort of petty things, when there's still huge subsidies for oil companies and they're acting terribly. Until people see big changes to corporations, why should they make these petty little things? So I think the pressure is the most important thing, keeping the pressure on.